Sound is like, okay, so we live. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, guys? We back. Yo, Knicks freaking won the championship, yo. Yo, the Knicks are champions, yo. Still saying so well, crazy. There's so much that we could just jump into to talk about with the Knicks doing what they did. First of all, this is one of my favorite teams in history. For me, for example, Steph Curry was one of my favorite players. So like their 2015 team was like one of my favorite teams, but this was one of my favorite teams of all time to watch. Even though like I grew up watching the Knicks in the 90s when they were Ewing, Starks, when they were going up against Jordan. So like that was one of my favorite teams growing up because I was a Knicks fan, and that was like it was a time to be alive. I had a lot of hope because we had a talented team. The only problem in the East was Jordan, and then like we actually had a chance to win in '94 when Jordan was out when he was playing baseball, and the Knicks ended up losing in the finals. But that was still a dope time. '99 they were back again, but we knew we didn't have a chance because Ewing got hurt. But yeah, we had a great team at that time. But this team is, like this is something that is gonna be a moment that is transcending sports in general. Like this is gonna be something historic, not just for New York, but for sports history, like this is something that people are gonna go back and look at and like, yo, because there were so many stories on this team. If you break it down as far as like each of the individuals that came to be a part of this Knicks franchise to help them to actually win that championship. So if you go back, you got obviously the main one everybody knows, Brunson. Everybody overlooked Brunson. Nobody really thought Brunson was gonna be that dude when he was coming here from Dallas. But you could say the same thing with Cat. I had my doubts a little bit about Karl Anthony Towns coming through because I know his track record, and I'm a fan of Jimmy Butler. And I remember Jimmy Butler used to say that he was soft. He was like, yo, this dude, Karl Anthony Towns. He said something about that when it was in Minnesota. And so, like, they all had, like, stories. We could talk about Josh Hart. He's been, like, on a few teams. I remember when he was on the Lakers. Mikal Bridges, he was actually killing it when he was on the Nets. I don't know if y'all was paying attention at that time because the Nets were not that good, but he was like averaging like 20 something points a game. Yeah, so to see him do everything that he's doing is not that crazy. Yeah, so I was saying everybody had a story. I mentioned Mikal Bridges real quick. Yeah, so he was killing it on the Nets. Who else? OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby, he was a part of a championship team, but if y'all remember that in 2019, he didn't really get to play in the finals because he had the appendix issues, appendicitis. So for him, this championship means more than it does than the Toronto championship because he was actually a major part of it. I mean, everybody knows who he is now, especially after Game 4 with that crazy tip in. So, yo, I could keep going down the roster. Grand Theft Alvarado, that guy was. I loved watching him when he was on. I remember like when he was on the Bulls, like he he still repped like that. New York, Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn, and yeah, man, like Shamit. Like there's so many of these. Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson has been on the Knicks from the beginning. So like he was there from even before any of these. Most of these players were there. He's like one of the longest tenured Knicks. If y'all didn't know, now you know. Yeah, man. I could keep going down the list because there's so many. Mike Brown, even with the coaching. So like there was a little bit of skepticism around him if he was gonna be able to do it because he's never won a championship as a head coach. He's won with the Warriors, but anybody could have won with the Warriors. No, let me not say that. But this is one of the things. Like, if you paid attention when he was with the Warriors, there was a point in time when they had a crazy playoff winning streak. I think it was the same thing, like the one that the Knicks tied, and they almost beat them. No, they didn't beat them. That was like the 15-game winning streak. That was under Mike Brown. Steve Kerr was the coach, but that was when he was having back issues and he wasn't on the bench. He wasn't coaching. So it was Mike Brown that was the one that really coached that Warriors team to get that crazy win streak. That's something that is a very underrated talent as a coach for you to be like a player's coach, for you to like listen to your players and stuff like that. So all that being said, just to say like I really that this team was like super motivating to watch throughout the season. I had picked them from the beginning of the season to win the whole thing because I actually thought they would have won last year, but not counting like not thinking about the way Thibodeau, Tom Thibodeau just he kept these guys in forever. Like he would only rotate like five, six, seven guys. So he eventually it's a the playoffs are definitely a battle of attrition. So the teams that usually have the deepest rosters are the ones that usually will make the longest runs. And the Knicks had a deep roster. It's just that he wasn't, Thibodeau wasn't using it. So now that Mike Brown comes through and he uses the whole roster, you get guys like Brunson and Cat to be fresh in the fourth quarter when you need them to really carry you. So, because we saw Brunson doing a lot of this in the playoffs in the past, so it was nothing new. But to see it now with a surrounding cast that are able to support, I know it means the world to him. So that's dope. Definitely a lot of kudos over to Mike Brown for doing it. I feel bad for Thibodeau, but not as much as I do because this situation reminded me a lot of Golden State. Similar situation where they had Mark Jackson, who was their coach, and he pretty much improved that Warriors roster. Like he helped that Warriors roster improve, I should say. And year after year, they got better, and they were young, and they got. I forgot when they got knocked out of the playoffs. The year that Mark Jackson got fired, but the following year they brought in Steve Kerr and they immediately won a championship in 2015. So that was like it really is mirroring that situation that happened over there. But I didn't want to like just harp on like those comparisons because I could do that all day because there was a lot of other things that happened that reminded me of that 2015 Warriors run when they had like strength in numbers. That was like their motto, something like that. But yeah, there's definitely a lot that you could learn from this, not just from their playoff run, but from the players individually. Brunson had a few crazy quotes that he said, and he like when he in his interviews, especially like during the finals, he was really giving me Kobe energy, like that Mamba mentality that he had of like job is not finished, which I didn't really feel that from the Spurs after they won the West. I'm gonna talk about the Spurs a little bit after I talk about the Knicks, but Brunson had that Mamba mentality. I didn't even know because I know he wears a lot of Kobe's sneakers. I've seen him wearing Kobe's on the court, but I didn't know that he actually had like some type of deal with Nike that he was gonna be the lead guy to wear Kobe sneakers. So like he gets sneakers, exclusive Kobe sneakers to wear for his games, and they offered him a signature line, and he declined it. He said he just wants to keep wearing Kobe sneakers, and I know they're gonna probably try to offer him to him again, especially now that he won a championship, so that they could try to really push another signature brand. But I get it. Like I would love for Brunson to have his own shoe, and I would probably cop it. But I understand why he wants to just continue pushing on Kobe's legacy, and it's like super saturated in the sneaker market right now. Like almost every athlete has a signature line with Nike or with an Adidas. Like I feel like you have to get to a level where you're like Curry or like LeBron, so that if you want to branch out and create your own brand, like LeBron is still with Nike, but he's LeBron, so he had like a crazy deal with them from the time that he was drafted. So he's different, but like how Curry branched out, he ended his deal with Under Armour, and now he's with I forgot the Asian guy's name, but yeah, and he's gonna like the Curry brand is what is gonna be living on. That's like kind of like how Jordan, even though like Jordan started off with Nike, now kind of has his own brand of clothing that he can sell, but the sneakers are always gonna be with Nike because that was a deal that he made with them. But yeah, I could definitely see Brunson doing his own thing. But anyway, like I was saying, I got sidetracked when I was talking about his mom mentality. Yeah, his interviews have just been on point, and like it just motivates me to keep doing the things that I do, whether it's hopping on here and streaming or going to the gym, doing real estate, everything that I do in life. It just reinforces that mentality, and I'm like I gotta keep putting in that work because the job's not finished. And that's just like the mindset. Even after he won a title, he was still hungry to try and win more. And that's one of the things that like I really admired about Kobe. Actually have a painting honored honoring Kobe in my living room because he's just like when he was one of my favorite athletes. But yeah. So Jalen gives me that same type of energy. And one of the things that he talked about in one of his recent interviews was like what helped him to get here was just not being afraid to fail. So like a lot of people have somewhere subconsciously. It's not something that you talk about when you're thinking about starting new, but you come up with excuses as to why you don't want to do something, and that's just because you don't think you're going to be able to stand out in whatever it is that you're going to do, and that's okay. I think like whenever you're starting something, you're not going to be a pro at it, so it's like you just got to be okay with being a beginner when with whatever it is that you're entering into, and like Brunson was saying, just being okay with failing publicly because he failed publicly multiple times before he won this championship. They lost last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. The year before that, they lost in the second round. Every time they would lose, people was talking to, yo, the Knicks ain't good. Yo, they're never going to win a championship. They're not good enough. They can't do it. This guy's good, but he's not good enough. He's too short. He's not this guy. He's not 6'8". He's not going to be able to do the things that these other players can do. So he was able to failed multiple times live in front of all of us. We saw the failures of the Knicks every year. And he was okay with that because he knew this was just a part of the process. So if you have that mindset of like, yo, all right, it's cool. Like whatever, whether it was going to the gym, like, all right, I can't do a pull up or I can't do 10 push ups or whatever it is, or, lift this weight, it's too heavy or whatever, exercise that you're trying to do. And it's something that involves balance and you're falling down and you don't want to do those things in front of people. You're never going to be able to do them, complete them. So it's like you're never going to be able to achieve what it is if you're going to keep hiding and being afraid to fail. So once you are no longer afraid, like, because failure to me is only when you actually give up. If you're like trying to do something, that's what I tell my students. Like when I used to teach swimming lessons, they're like, oh, I can't do it. I'm like, but you're trying, you're doing it. Like, it's like, oh, like I almost, like, no, you're doing it. Like you're, like, as a part of you learning this process, you're going to get better if you keep practicing. If I'm telling my students, they got to keep practicing this, whether it's, drills, kicking drills, or moving their arms, or like just getting their face in the water, because you have to get comfortable. So like you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That uncomfortability, eventually you're gonna get used to it and realize, you know what, this isn't so bad, and that's what's gonna help you to elevate and then like get to that next level. Okay, so like we have levels in like our swim school, like old swim schools when I used to teach. Like you have to be able to like complete check off certain boxes so you can move on to the next level. And then like when you get to a certain level, you are gonna be a swimmer. I mean, you're not gonna be like Michael Phelps, you're not gonna be like an Olympic swimmer, but there's levels to it. So the more you're gonna keep doing it, the better you're gonna get at it. So it was just about being comfortable in that unknown, comfortable in that like I'm not that good right now, but if I keep doing this, I will get better. And that's what one of the one of the many lessons that Jalen and the Knicks were teaching us in these finals. So I said I wanted to mention the Spurs because there's definitely some things that we could learn from the Spurs too. And the Spurs, shout outs to them, because making it to the finals is definitely an accomplishment, because only two teams can make it there and it's 30 teams. So you got to be better than 15 other teams in your conference to make it to the finals. So they were the best in the West this year, and that's definitely an accomplishment because the West, everyone says, is the hardest conference, right? It's harder than the East. Everybody was saying, oh my gosh, the East is so weak, and they were trying to downplay the Knicks, but that's for another conversation. The Spurs made it. To me, I knew they were going to lose the moment I saw Wembanyama and that team like celebrating getting their Western Conference championship. Like, to me, that was their championship. Like, Wemby wanted to beat Chet Holmgren, that he was willing to put all his energy, effort, and I think mental capital into that series. And I think they, like most people, kind of were overlooking how good the Knicks were, because everybody pretty much was saying, oh, whoever comes out of the West is winning the championship. So if that's all you're hearing all the time, then to you, oh, this opponent that we're facing, they're the former champions. So if we beat them, got this, right? It's a cakewalk. Like, that's almost what happened to the Knicks. That's what happened to the last year. Yeah, pretty much last year when they beat the Celtics. That was what everybody was talking about because no one thought the Knicks could beat the Celtics. And then the Knicks beat the Celtics. And we were celebrating like we won the championship last year. We were celebrating. They was already naming streets after the Knicks. They was doing so many things. And don't get me wrong, it was a long time since they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So that was a huge achievement. But job wasn't finished. And when we got to face the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, the first game they took, that was it. That was when we lost the series. In that first game, when we thought we were gonna win that series already, we already lost. So as soon as we laced it up against the Pacers, we had no chance because we already thought we were in the finals. Like, even though we wasn't there yet, we had that mindset. And so what ends up happening, close ass game, and then right at the end, you get that crazy buzzer beater from Halliburton that sent it into overtime, and then that was it. That was it. Even if if Knicks would have won that game, then maybe they could have turned things around. But I think from that moment they already had lost. Like, it was over. So that's why I was saying it's very similar to what happened this year with Wemby and the Spurs. They just wanted to beat the Thunder. I don't think they wanted to be champions. They just wanted to beat the Thunder. And then, like most commentators are saying, they're young, so they're gonna probably be back. Who knows? Because you need a lot of things to go right for you to get back there. You need all your players to be healthy. You need the matchups to be right for you guys, like depending on your seeding, who you're gonna be facing in the playoffs. So we don't know what trades are gonna happen. Giannis is a huge wild card, so depending on where he's gonna go could determine a shift of power. Yeah, like, so there's a lot. There's a lot. But with that being said, with the Spurs, because there was something else that came up during this series that I was like, yo, because the Knicks were on this magical run. They were on a run like no ever. I won't say like no ever, but it was almost like the Warriors in 20, who had a super stacked team. The Warriors had three, four Hall of Famers, four guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famers, Steph, Clay, and added Kevin Durant with pretty much the same roster that they had that they won a championship with 2 years before. So, like, to do what that team did with this team is crazy. But I think that they would have been able to tie that record with the Warriors if the NBA, well, I would say maybe the NBA, but there's definitely, I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory when it comes to game three about why the Knicks lost that game in the finals, because I don't think that they were going to lose. I thought they were going to sweep. Before the series started, I thought they were going to sweep. I was like, they're going to sweep these guys because they've just been sweeping everybody. And it's like, who's going to stop this team on this run? They were on before the series started, they were on 11 game win streak, I think, right? So I'm like, nobody's stopping them. And then they were on a 12 game win streak. They won the first game in San Antonio. And then the 13 game was the second game in San Antonio. So I'm like, oh, that's it. They coming home and they sweeping. And then we get an announcement that Donald Trump will be in attendance for game three. Yo. Oh, man. And everyone was saying it. He's going to jinx us. Everyone's like, yo, Trump coming through. It's no good. It's no good. Yeah, I didn't really think too much of it, but when a lot of people who are superstitious were going along with this whole bag thing. The Jordan Woods, if you're not familiar with Jordan Woods, that's Karl Anthony Towns' girlfriend. Was like coming to every game with this bag while the Knicks were on that winning streak. And then for game three of the finals, because Trump was in attendance and it was heightened security, there was a no bag policy. What a coincidence. It could just be a coincidence, of course. No one knows what really, if that was really why the Knicks were winning. I'm not going to say it was just because of a bag. But the whole series, there was a lot of fishiness going on with the refs. A lot of these calls that were being missed, especially on the Knicks side. And it just was a little bit too fishy. And they end up winning the next two games. So you telling me the only game during that win streak that Trump went to was the one game that they lost. Hey, you can think whatever you want, but it's crazy. You know what I mean? So there was definitely a lot of gambling going on that game. I'm like almost certain that like everybody was like, oh, Trump is going, so we're going to have the Spurs win. Trump, we need you. I'm just saying, I don't know, but Trump has been involved in a lot of market manipulation. You know what I mean? Like, he says something, the stocks go up. He says something, the stocks, like, he knows what he's doing. Like, this has just happened this past week, last week. He said something crazy about the war during the week. I think it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, saying something about he's going to go and bomb Iran crazy because of something that happened, the stock market ever started liquidating. Like so many tech stocks started going down, and then the next day he had to backtrack. Oh, we're not doing that no more. And then everything just starts going back up again. All the stocks start flying up. So it's like, bro, clearly that was like a sign. Like there was like somebody was like, yo, Trump, we need you to say XYZ so that we could get a good price to buy. And then next day, they're like, all right, we got the good price. Now, say it again. No, say the reverse. Take it back. Say you're not doing that. So then now the stocks can fly back up again. And he did it, and the stocks flew up. The market manipulation has been at an all-time high. I know we talk about the Knicks right now, but I'm just saying, if it's Trump related, there's definitely some conspiracy involved. There's definitely something you gotta put an extra eye on it. Just like, I need my magnifying glass. I need to inspect this properly because there's a lot going on right now. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all the stuff I wanted to talk about when it comes to that Knicks finals run and the motivation that it really has sparked. And we had to talk about it because I'm part of the Champions Here show, and the Champions Here show, that's what we talk about, that mindset, that success, how you can achieve success. And I know we had so many episodes probably you could go back to that we talked about some similar stories of greatness, of people who were had to overcome some type of adversity, whether it's like public speakers, or whether it's like some CEO, or there's the list could go on and on. Other athletes, because I know we talked about it with like Super Bowl and stuff like that. We've talked about with other, and I know I recently, even most recently, when I was talking about the rappers and hoopers in regards to the comparisons of the generational talents of who are the goats of each generation and stuff like that. All these different intangibles that go into making you successful. The Knicks embodied that, and that's like what New York, they really embody. Like I said, they really embody New York, that New York energy, that never give up, die hard, we keep doing it, we never gonna give up. And yeah, man, congratulations to the New York Knickerbockers, 2026 world champions. I'm proud of them. I'm so happy for them. I'm happy for New York. The city is gonna go crazy. Might pop out to the parade. We're gonna see. I don't know. I'm still 50-50 about that right now. I'm on the fence. I want to go so I could support, have fun, but at the same time, I know New Yorkers have been wild. And the only thing I'm like, it's a possibility that I feel like things be cool, is because it's gonna be during the daytime, so it may not be as much nonsense. They might save those for the nighttime activities, for Side Talk New York and all that stuff. But yeah, man, it's definitely contagious. That energy is just all around the city. My social media feed is orange and blue. That's all I'm seeing is people just reposting Knicks pictures, winning. Congratulations, they did it. We did it. As far as generations, so many people who grew up Knicks fans. Like my sister made a post like thanking my dad that he took us to Knicks games when we were kids. So we were a part of history. We got to see history as we grew up, because some of us didn't think we would see this in our lifetime. Years of talking to people like, oh yeah, we're gonna watch the Knicks on this game. Ah, you watch the deal. The Knicks ain't gonna win. And sometimes some of these are New Yorkers who have said this. So I know some of those New Yorkers, they eating their words, and some of them, they probably hopped on the bandwagon, which I'm cool with it. If you're from New York, you could hop on the bandwagon. I know a lot of people are saying like, yo, nah, I can't be celebrating with us if he wasn't with us when they sucked. It's cool. It's cool. I'm not one of those. It's whatever. Like, no one's gonna stop you from wanting to celebrate a team's victory. Who cares? Do whatever. Enjoy it. Have fun. Like, if for the people who don't really know about basketball, maybe this is a good time. You can start learning a little bit, because they're gonna be here for a while. I'm not saying for sure they're gonna repeat next year, because like I said, we got to see what the basketball landscape looks like. But they definitely, they definitely gonna put up another fight, and I'm proud of that. We're gonna wrap it up there. I just gotta update a few things over here on the background, because I know right now it says New York Knicks talk. Hold on, let me just go to Stream Manager. But yeah, y'all definitely let me know what y'all think about this whole thing, about the Knicks winning, and Yeah, well, actually, you know what? I might just actually stop it and restart it. We're gonna be right back, guys. I'm gonna. Oh no, actually, I don't have to. I don't have to. I could leave it same stream. No, no, no. Yeah, I actually want. I want to. I want this as a separate VOD. So I'm gonna stop it and then I'm gonna come right back in. Be right back, guys.